Have you ever heard about the third most severe nuclear disaster in history that was kept a secret for over 30 years? It was a seemingly ordinary day in September 1957 in the heart of the Soviet Union's nuclear complex, Mayak Production Association. But beneath the normality, a ticking time bomb was concealed. A poorly maintained storage tank, brimming with highly radioactive waste, was on the brink of failure. The routine of the day was shattered when the tank finally gave way, resulting in an explosion that would shake the world, though the tremors were felt decades later. This explosion unleashed a radioactive nightmare, contaminating thousands of square kilometers of land and endangering countless lives. Yet this disaster did not make immediate headlines. Instead, it marked the beginning of one of the most significant cover-ups in nuclear history. The explosion set off a chain of events that would lead to one of the most significant cover-ups in nuclear history. In the blink of an eye, a silent killer was set loose across the countryside. The explosion at Mayak released a staggering 20 million curies of radioactive material. The lethal cloud of radioactivity spread far and wide, contaminating approximately 23,000 square kilometers of land. This wasn't a disaster contained to a single location. It was an insidious threat that seeped into the earth, water, and air. In the days following the explosion, over 10,000 people were hastily evacuated from their homes, forever leaving behind their lives as they knew them. Yet, the swift evacuation couldn't prevent the inevitable. Hundreds, if not more, likely succumbed to the silent, invisible enemy, radiation exposure. The land they once called home was now a radioactive wasteland, a grim testament to the destructive power of nuclear technology. But the full extent of the disaster was yet to be revealed. In the ensuing chaos, a veil of secrecy descended over the disaster. The Soviet government, in a bid to maintain its image of technological prowess, chose silence over transparency. Despite the significant impact of the Kyshtym disaster and the desperate need for evacuations, it was not until the closing days of the Cold War, in 1989, that the event was finally acknowledged. This silence could have prevailed indefinitely if it weren't for the tenacity of one man, a Soviet emigrant named Zhores Medvedev. Medvedev, risking his own safety, revealed the details of the catastrophe to the Western world in 1976. His accounts were met with skepticism initially, as the world grappled with the idea of such a significant nuclear disaster being concealed for almost 2 decades. The Kyshtym disaster serves as a stark reminder of how truth can become a casualty in the face of political and scientific interests. The silence that followed the explosion was deafening, but silence can't hide the truth forever. The Kyshtym disaster's long-term impact was as far-reaching as it was profound. The explosion unleashed a radioactive cloud that drifted northeast, tainting the landscape with an invisible, deadly poison. This resulted in the formation of the East Ural Radioactive Trace, or EURT, an area heavily contaminated by radioactive fallout. The once bustling, vibrant region was transformed into a desolate, eerie wasteland, a chilling testament to the destructive power of nuclear technology. And then there were the people. The disaster didn't just affect the environment, it had a profound, lasting impact on the health of those exposed to the radiation. In the immediate aftermath, the exposed population experienced a significant decrease in average leukocyte and thrombocyte counts, a grim indicator of the invisible war waged by the radiation inside their bodies. But the health impacts didn't stop there. Over time, there was a noticeable increase in the excess relative risk of solid cancer incidence and mortality. The silent killer had made its mark, and its effects would reverberate through the years. The long-term health effects were perhaps the most devastating. Residents in the affected region were plagued by a disturbing increase in rates of cancer, deformities, and other major health problems. These afflictions were not just the result of the disaster itself, but also the routine release of radioactive waste by Chelyabinsk 40, the Mayak facility, over many years. The people of this region bore the physical scars of a disaster they were not even allowed to acknowledge. The Kyshtym disaster, though shrouded in secrecy, serves as a stark reminder of the devastating potential of nuclear technology when mishandled. It is a chilling testament to the indelible consequences of a moment's negligence. the ripple effects of which can extend far beyond the epicenter of the disaster, affecting countless lives and forever altering the course of history. It is a lesson that should never be forgotten. The echoes of Kyshtym still resonate today. This disaster, shrouded in secrecy for decades, has left an indelible imprint on the world of nuclear safety. It serves as a stark reminder of the immense responsibility that comes with harnessing nuclear power, highlighting the dire consequences of negligence and secrecy. Yet the tale of Kyshtym is not just a story of a disaster. It's a testament to the resilience of those who endured the aftermath, their lives forever altered. It's a story of the courageous who dared to unveil the truth, challenging the might of power and deceit. The legacy of Kyshtym extends beyond the contaminated landscapes of Mayak. It reverberates in the hallways of nuclear facilities worldwide, shaping policies and safeguards. The disaster may have been hidden from the world, but its impact cannot be forgotten. As we tread into a future that increasingly relies on nuclear energy, the lessons of Kyshtym remain as pertinent as ever.